Alright, we got fin made. Now we're going to make Flame Princess with almost the exact same workflow. So we're going to block her in clay-like first, and then we're going to kind of polish her up and use zero measure to kind of do the spit shine. So the first thing we need to do is go to Import, Cake Toppers, Flame Princess Reference, and I have a hair down and a hair up version. I'm probably going to do the hair up version just because it gets less in the way of her clothing, which is what I really care about. I'm not going to match the hair. I'm just going to do my own hairstyle, but it's still going to be Flame Princess-esque. So we're going to go to Texture that we just imported, select it, hit Add to Spotlight here, go Hide, and now we've got our spotlight in here. So of course we are in widget mode now, which means I can click anywhere on here, and no matter where I click is going to be where the widget goes. You can also click this inside button here and move it around manually. So wherever that is, you can scale it from there. All sorts of cool stuff. So we'll scale her up just a tad, and we'll also drop her opacity down. Just click the opacity button and crank that to the left. And now we can just kind of see an indication of where she is. Now this one isn't like Finn, where it's front, side, back, left, right, all that good stuff. This is front, back, three-quarter, which is fine. You know, she's basically got a sphere for a head, and then a cylinder for a body, and then a kind of an oblong egg shape for her torso, so it'll be fine. So I'm going to hit Z to go out of widget mode here, and I'm going to go to... We don't need to load a tool. I'm just going to go to my primitives here, and because we're going to start out kind of in clay mode, where we're just going to be dropping in primitives and then slicing and dynameshing, I don't need to start with any special primitives. So I'm just going to grab a sphere 3D, go ahead and drag it out on my canvas, go into edit mode up here, and here we go. So first thing I want to do is make sure I'm oriented correctly. I'm going to hit Shift Z to get rid of the spotlight, and then I'm going to turn on my floor, and I'm going to look at the bottom here, and I'm going to see this little blue line is going this way. That's Z forward. If I hit X to toggle on transform, activate X symmetry, you're going to notice that I don't think, yeah, it's still a primitive, so I can go in here. If I turn polyframe on, I can go in here and change my V and even my coverage, my subdivisions and whatever. Again, because I am going into Dynamesh fairly quickly, I don't really care what the topology looks like. I'm just making sure I'm oriented correctly. So I'm going to go up here and hit Make Polymesh 3D, and then I'll change it from a primitive to something I can sculpt on. Now when I hit that, it got rid of my X symmetry. So I got to hit X, and all that's doing is underneath Transform, toggling this X Activate Symmetry across the X axis on and off. So there's my X symmetry. If I go down to the bottom here, you're going to see this little blue line's pointing forward. That's Z forward. That's where I want to be. So I'm going to Control Z that, turn off the floor, and now I'm oriented in space correctly, because this right here is my front. So let's go ahead and start making Flame Princess. It looks like her body is kind of just a cylinder on top of a sphere. I could have done a cylinder and then just capped it with a rounded cap, or I can just Control Shift, go to my clip curve, and I'm going to clip, hold down Control Shift. I'm just going to clip half of this thing. So when I hold down Control Shift and bring up the clip, it's going to just pull everything towards that gradient like so. And then I'm going to hold down Control, and with my mask pin, just Control drag out, and then Control tap to invert that mask, hit W, and then click a point, hold down Shift, and just drop it right off so it goes straight down. And now I'm going to hold down Shift and just pull that middle hole, or that middle loop right there, and just pull that straight down. So now I've got a nice kind of dress bell shape, and I'm not going to... I could go ahead and Dynamesh right now, but I'll just go ahead and leave this alone right now. We'll stay in primitive land for a while. Now I'm going to go to BI, and I'm going to grab my Insert Sphere brush, BIW, and go to the very top here, and I'm just holding down Shift as I go to the top, and it's going to snap it straight to the orthographic view. I'm not modeling with perspective on for now. I'm just kind of getting her blocked out, so I'm going to keep perspective off. I'm just going to drag on a sphere, go to the front here, hit W, and again, just to make sure I'm going straight up, I'm just going to click off of this object, and that's going to go into space. I'm going to hold down Shift, and that's going to constrain it to a straight line, and now I can just kind of move this up. So you've got kind of a tiny waist in here, and then I'm just going to go into my Move brush and make my brush size big by tapping S and just dragging. You can also go up here to your draw size, or you can hit spacebar and hold that down, and now you can kind of make this shape. Now I'm not using Spotlight just yet. I'm just getting her pieces in there, and we'll do two more things. We'll go ahead and give her a cylinder next. So B, I, brush, insert, cylinder is Y. Drag out her neck here, hit W, hold down Shift, and just pull that middle one up. And then one more. And if we want to go ahead and split this off, I can go to Subtool, and I can go to Split, like Unmasked Points or Masked Points. Let's go ahead and do a Split Unmasked. And then I have the original body selected. Let's go ahead and split these as well, couple different ways. These are both different polygroups right here, so I can just go down here to split, group split, hit OK, always OK, and now I've got these 3 separate subtools. So with the neck selected, I'm going to hold down Shift and snap to the top again, BI, grab that sphere, pull that out, just drop the sphere on there. Go ahead and do, on this one, if I go into solo mode, your solo button might be down here. Here's my solo button. You're going to see I inserted it and it kind of engulfed the neck. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick split unmasked points. There we go. So now we've got the neck, we've got the sphere that was actually over the neck. If we hit transparent and go out of solo mode, you're going to see where that sphere ended up. Hit W and then just hold down Shift and just pull straight up that middle hole, that middle circle right there. So now we've got our body basically blocked in, like so. Looking good. I'm not going to do our arms yet, but now that I've got our basic pieces, I'm going to hit Shift Z, and that's going to bring back the spotlight texture that we loaded in here. It's on and we've added it. So now I can kind of move this into place. Now instead of using the movie where we did in the original, in the fin one, where we did, if you can get rid of any menu over here just by clicking that little white dot. Then we can take the movie menu, grab that little white dot, move it over here, and then we can go to timeline show, and that'll show the timeline. And now with the movie showing, we can set a timeline dot here, and then we can kind of move her back to her back 3/4, and then set another dot here. I did this one to the left of that original dot because it's kind of left to right on my screen here, and now I can use my arrow keys to go back and forth between those two keys. But since this is so easy, I'm just going to click these dots and just drag them off here, and I'm going to go turn off show on my movie timeline. I'm going to hit this little white button up here to get rid of the movie menu. I'm going to go to document, grab the little white dot, move it over, go down here to ZapLink properties, and now if I go to the front here, and she's drawn in perspective, so you can turn perspective on. You're going to want to be careful with that because as I move over here to the right and to the very far left, it's going to start distorting your perspective. It's going to kind of move them in a really weird way. It was more obvious in the Finn example because he had character sheets way over here. It's not so obvious here, but if you do want to avoid that, just go to your draw menu, turn on align to object, and then it'll keep it in perspective mode, but it won't distort it on either side of your document. Well, like I said, I'm going to be modeling not in perspective for most of this, so I'm just getting a kind of a rough shape just to kind of keep me honest. Like, see, her torso's a little big here, and this isn't high up enough or tapered enough, just to kind of get my stuff in place here is all I'm going to use this for. So instead of using the movie timeline, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say custom 2 for this one. And because this one's to the left, I'm going to say kind of get her into place, and I'm going to choose custom 1. So now when I want to go back to custom 2, I can just hit that button and I'm good to go. Now of course you can save these views if you want to, use them later. Just go ahead and save them. You'll need to make sure that your spotlight is saved, or just reload in your spotlight and line it back up. If you get off track, just hit Z after you load it in and just kind of move it into place. You'll also want to make sure you don't change your document ratio. You can change the size, but as long as your proportion is turned on and the ratio is the same, it should line up if you save your views. If not, your camera will be slightly out of whack. So anyway, we've got her all lined up and ready to be fine-tuned.